Hey everybody, Forbidden Exile here, and welcome to another new video. So I went back to standard because, as I said in the last video, League's just not really that fun for me anymore, and I still love playing the game, but the League mechanic's just boring. And aside from playing the League mechanic, there's really nothing else that's different between League and standard. So I'm back on my Crit Forbidden Rite build. I did sell and kind of give away a decent amount of gear, but I kept enough to keep my Crit Forbidden Rite build going. The only thing I did lose is my good boots. I sold them a while ago, but so I'm going to have to recraft those, which is kind of a pain to get the double elevated cooldown and tailwind. That's a problem for another day. So I'm going to quickly go over the build guide. It's pretty similar as far as, any kind of Crit Forbidden Rite build goes, but for those of you that maybe, you have a Mageblood, you want something crazy that can do a lot of damage, this is the build. Personally, I think this is probably the best build to use for a Mageblood. Other people might, disagree with me, and that's perfectly fine. But yeah, so we'll get right into it. So you got your standard Imperial Skeen. I say standard, but it's the standard for this build. Once you have a Mageblood, if you don't have the Mageblood, then you use a Gemini Claw, so you can get the mana on kill. But +1 level of all Chaos Spell skill gems. You can do the Fractured version, or you can do the Ashling to get it. I personally think getting the Fractured one is easier. As far as crafting it goes, because then you just basically use Zeal Essences until you get, crit multi and crit chance. It takes a lot, and then you can either Ashling to get the spell damage, or you can just do Veiled Chaos Orb. The choice is yours on that one. I do have a video on how to craft that, so I'll put that up here. But yeah, so that's that. Crown of the Inward Eye. It's pretty much best in slot. I do need to get the +1 power charges on there, but just max rolled with the Forbidden Rite, fires additional projectile. Aegis. Very standard on this build. No crazy double corrupts or anything like that. Just a pretty high, almost max rolled armor and energy shield on there. Just a curse enemies with a spare on hit with some res on there, and strength, because strength and dexterity kind of suck on occultists, or on witches in general. So that's that. And then the Fertile Catalyst to get up to 15%, so that will give you -8 to your mana cost. Fracture Global Defense body armor. It's the same body armor with the Fracture Global Defenses that I use on every single Crit Forbidden Rite build. It just helps so much with that increased global defense on there. And then Deafening Essence of Loathing to get more mana reservation, and I just spammed it until I got pretty decent res because I was missing Fire and Lightning. And then you get Determination, increased effect, and then increased effect of non-curse auras. I do need to technically probably elevate the increased effect so I can get a higher all max res from Period of Ice. Synthesized base rings and just armor, weapons, whatever it might be, are way easier to get. Now they're still kind of expensive for the specific ones like Onslaught, or max frenzy charges, or additional arrow, or something crazy like that. But just getting Onslaught on hit helps so much to keep Onslaught up all the time. And then for this one, I just chaos spammed it until I got some dex and strength. I need to recraft it eventually, but I just needed dexterity and strength still on this, and I also have to take the 30 dex node on the tree in order to run some of the gems. For the gloves, these were my Magic Find gloves that I was using for a while. The Fractured Increased Rarity prefix. It's pretty simple to craft. I say simple, but I mean, everything's kind of relative. Getting that +2 level of socket AoE gems is not simple sometimes if you don't get lucky. Deafening Essence of Zeal for the attack speed. Just roll it until you get the other suffix of increased rarity. So you have double rarity, so I have 30 rarity just on these gloves alone. And then, I did it until I got a decent level of res. And you do prefixes or suffixes cannot be changed. Veiled Chaos Orb, you craft like Fizz As or something like that, and hope for the best. Hope to try and get that +2 so you can put your auras in there. Mageblood is what it is. Some people hate builds that use it, but it's one of the best belts and one of the best items in the game. I do need to get the other enchant on there for the Wither, negative resistance when enemies are withered, but I hate Red on Lab. I'll probably do it eventually. And then these are the boots. The Onslaught on kill, obviously I don't need that because I have it on the ring, but these were the best boots because of the reduced mana cost of skills. If you've been hit recently, you have to have that on your boots. Forbidden Rite hits you, so you immediately get 18% reduced mana cost of skills, how I'm running it right now. Forbidden Rite with Cyclone cost me 0 mana. The amulet, it's ashes. It's terribly rolled, but I have enough mana. I don't need to keep divining it. And then just Anointed Charisma, which is opalescent and 2 golden, to get more mana reservation on there as well. For the flasks, just increased armor, increased effect granite flask, increased res, increased effect bismuth flask, increased effect, and then reduced mana cost of skills during effect. Quicksilver flask, you get that from unveiling cinder swallows, and you just craft it on there. And then a crit chance with increased effect with a chance to avoid being stunned. So I'm stun immune. You're cycloning around, you get stunned, you'll die. Just a dying stun for 2 additional projectiles. Where I'm at right now, if that's not up, I lose like almost 4 million damage. It goes from like 8 million down to about 4 million when that's not up. But with the Watcher's Eye and just gaining flask charges, because that's the only flask that gains any charges at all, it is always up when I'm mapping. And bossing too. So as far as gems go, I got Anomalous Mark on hit just to save on mana cost. 20/20 Sniper's Mark just for more projectile damage. I don't need Assassin's Mark in order to get crit capped, which is actually super nice. Anomalous Withering Step, so this paired with the increased quality of all skill gems from Ashes actually makes such a huge difference. You immediately inflict 11 Wither debuffs the first time you hit Withering Step. Getting up to 15 is the max that you can get, and that increases your damage so much. On the helm, we got Colon Strike linked with a level 5 Awaken Castoncrit, Anomalous Vengeance, and Divergent Purifying Flame. Over here we got a level 4 Enlighten, linked to Anomalous Zealotry for more crit chance and crit multi, and more spell damage. And then Tempest Shield grants you immunity to shock. That's the only thing ailment that I'm immune from at the moment. Once I do recraft the boots, then I'll get the chill and freeze immunity on there, and then that's fine. Ignite and burning and stuff like that, it doesn't really matter. For the actual casting Crit Forbidden Rite, it's the same as always. Divergent Cyclone for more movement speed. It's 20/23 increased critical damage. Awakened Void Manipulation level 5, a 21/20 Forbidden Rite, just regular. A level 6 Awakened Castoncrit. You do need a level 6 if you're not using Skin of the Lords or something that has plus level of gems. You have to get a level 6 in order to get to 52% cooldown recovery. Obviously, since I can't because I don't have the boots yet, I could use a level 5 in here, but I have it, so it's in there. And then increased critical strike support for more crit chance, which is how I'm able to get to 100% crit chance. On the gloves, we got Period of Ice, so how this works, you obviously get 5% additional max cold res from there, and this gives you an additional max cold res, 5% max cold res just off the top, and then any increased effect of auras that you get will actually add to that. So I'm at 82% right now. The more I get I'm also using Melting into the Flesh, which we'll get to in a minute. You can technically get to about 85, 86, like semi-easily, but obviously you get the negative max res from Melting into the Flesh now, so it's kind of hard to get to 90% all res like it used to be. Level 4 Enlighten. Anomalous Determination, you can just use a regular Determination if you're using this to with a chance to avoid being stunned with increased effect, because all that Anomalous does is give you chance to avoid being stunned, which I don't actually need. And then level 20/20 Val Discipline. This is very important. Val Discipline is your only way to immediately regenerate any kind of life / energy shield, your chaos inoculation, so you can't use life flasks. There's ways you can get around it with like life regen and stuff like that, with Zealot's Oath that affect energy shield, but Val Discipline, aside from hitting stuff to leech energy shield, it's the only way. So that is very, very mandatory. And then over here, increased duration linked to Molten Shell, which I manually trigger. So low level precision for the Watcher's Eye mod, and then just 21/20 Flame Dash. Alright, as far as the tree goes, it's pretty much the same as all of my Castoncrit Forbidden Rite builds. You've got your large Sword of Hope, try to get -10 because you're already fighting res with Melting into the Flesh. Take Glancing Blows because it doubles your chance to block attack and spell damage. And then over here, Divine Shield, while can't recover energy shield above armor. You have tons of armor, so that's not a problem. And physical damage prevented from hits is recently is regenerated as energy shield. Take this one, fizz damage taken as chaos damage. You don't take any chaos damage, so that's free 10% right there. Up here, obviously take reservation, crit multi, crit masteries. The plus level of all critical support gems is very mandatory. You can take it here or here, doesn't matter. For the clusters, so I've got Touch Cruelty, Unholy Grace, and Wicked Paw. Increase chaos damage, hinder enemies, and then chaos damage and attack speed. I needed more dexterity, so just corrupted blood, corrupted blood jewel with some dex and strength on there. And then Basic Pain, Quick Getaway, all 3 of the medium jewels are all critical strike chance jewels. And then for the Watcher's Eye, so you can see here, gain energy shield per enemy hit while affected by discipline. This is very, very mandatory as well. You're always hitting so much stuff, even in bosses, right? And so every single time it hits, you gain 28 energy shield. It goes up to 30, but I don't feel like divining it. And then gain a flash charge when you deal a critical strike. You're 100% crit chance on Cyclone and on Forbidden Rite if you do it right. So you're always gaining a flash charge. And since you can only gain a flash charge on your Dying Sun, because these don't gain charges, it's always up. Over here, so you want the High Templar Dominus and the reduced mana cost of skills per 10 devotion. That one's also mandatory as well for mana cost, and also to get Inner Conviction, so you get more spell damage per power charge. I have 7 power charges right now, so it's a free 21% more spell damage. And then you take this one node right here. If I take this one out, Forbidden Rite costs 1 mana. If I put this one in there, then it costs 0. So the devotion does actually add up pretty quick in just these couple ones that you get right here. So for the other large cluster jewel, the main one that you want to get is Mage Hunter. If you only can get one, get Mage Hunter. It gives you 4%, plus this doubles everything. And then you take this one right here, chance to block spell damage, and then you can get to 75%. As I said, the other medium cluster jewels are all just critical strike chance, and then we have Unholy Authority, Forbidden Flesh, Forbidden Flame, so that we can get the additional curse, so that we can use Sniper's Mark and Despair. Alright, so for Melding the Flesh, if you don't know what it is, I mean, it says what it does. Negative 70 to all res. That one actually goes from negative 70 to negative 80. So you want to try and get as well rolled a one as possible, because you're already fighting against res. And then you get negative 4 to negative 6, all max res. But your max highest max res applies to all of your other res. So between Period of Ice and Aegis, you technically get 10, but I lose 5. Kind of sucks. But with increased aura effect, right, so you get 5 and then 5. Increased aura effect, I'm actually 82%. If that wasn't the case, which a couple leagues ago you didn't have that negative 5 to all max res, then I would actually be at like 87. But, you know, this is what it is. I have a decent amount of effective hit pool, so all's well. Ascendancies, Profane Bloom for explosions, Withering Presence, Chaos damage, Forbidden Power for max power charges, and then, as I said, Unholy Authority from Forbidden Flesh and Forbidden Flame. So, Path of Building, right, effective hit pool, 96,000. That is without Molten Shell. That's just running around. I have Molten Shell on the left click, so it's, you know, it's always constantly going off. When it is up, 275,000. It's not invincible. You can take a lot of damage. 8.2 million DPS. That's without getting to 10.1 attacks per second and 52% cooldown recovery. If I was able to get to 52% cooldown recovery, which would be me upgrading my boots. See here, you can just test this. If you import this, change this cooldown recovery to 18%. Now he put you at 52%, 7.6 million DPS, just from that one stat alone. So cooldown recovery and attacks per second is very important to try to understand. I do have a video on that on my channel as well, which I'll put that up there. Alright, well that's it. I do have a lot of different videos on this build. I played it on Pathfinder, which was super fun. So if you want to check out my other videos, be sure to subscribe. I will be probably making another video on this, just a short little update once I get those boots crafted. Probably start doing Ubers and stuff like that, because with the damage that I'm doing now, I can't really do Ubers because you have to get close, right, with Cyclone and stuff like that. So you got to do a lot of damage and kill them fast. Well, thanks for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please give it a like, and if you are enjoying the content, please consider subscribing, because it really does help me out.